Hey, what up gang? It's your boy Sanola, and today we're gonna talk about 5 pros and cons of film school. I'm just editing these pictures. First con, and I think the number one con when it comes to film school, is the cost. Obviously, when you go to school, you're obviously paying for the education that you're gonna get, but when it comes to film school, it can be quite pricey. I went to George Brown College, which is in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and it wasn't as pricey as some other schools, for example, but there are some schools that I know personally, and I checked it, it could be around $60,000 a year. Los Angeles Film School costs around $60,000 a year. Obviously, you're gonna get professional people who are in the industry, in the Hollywood and stuff like that, but is it really worth the $60,000? You can create a feature film with this. Like, number 2 con in this list would be professors. In film schools, you usually get professors who are already in the industry. Some professor could be really great in what they do, for example, producer, DOPing or directing or whatever, and they know everything about that. They've been in this industry for 40, 50 years, but they could be really bad teachers. For example, I had a class when I was in George Brown College. I started this the whole film career as a photographer and editor, and that was an editing class, and I really loved editing. On our first semester and the second semester, I had a teacher who was good at animation. Like, he was really good at what he does, but he wasn't a good teacher. I wasn't learning much from his classes, so I was mostly spending my time, I don't know, write a script or preparing for my next short or something like that. Yeah, that would be my number 2 things, because you will always get a good professor, but you won't always get a good teacher, which can change the whole subject quite drastically. You can, for example, you could be like me, you could love editing or DOPing or directing, but if the prof can't teach what he knows, are you learning anything from that? Like, that's what I'm trying to say here. And number 3 is imagination, breaking the rule. A lot of filmmakers who became a filmmaker from back in the day, they didn't go to film school. Maybe because there was not many film schools, or maybe they just have a chance or money or whatever, but they all learned themselves. Because they broke the rules and they had no restrictions, they became who they are right now. And by going to film school, I feel like you actually kind of get into that shell when you know everything, and you just have to be like, I have to follow this, I have to do this, otherwise the film won't make sense. No, people who create like random stuff are probably one of the greatest. That's like one of the important things when it comes to film school, because you're learning everything, you're learning so much about film, and you kind of forget about imagination, about breaking the rule, about being creative. Number 4 in this list is no job guaranteed. That's just how it is. When you finish a film school, to be honest, there won't be anybody who's like looking for somebody, hey, do you have a film school diploma? Or, hey, have you gone to film school? They do not care about that. Like, I have my diploma, that's great, but do I really need it? Have I ever showed that diploma to anybody? No, nobody really asks about it. Nobody cares. Everybody cares about how many works have you done, what have you done, and stuff like that, but nobody cares about your diploma, so you won't pretty much get a job. If you haven't done anything else but just go to school and that's pretty much it, you won't get a job. Like, for example, if you finished accounting, or if you finished business in some kind of a school and you have that diploma, with that diploma you can actually get a job, but not in film career, not in film business. In film business, all they care about, what have you done overall, and they do not really care about all this paper stuff. All right, that was all the cons, and now we're gonna talk about pros. First one is, and the most important thing from my opinion, connection. Film school is one of the great places when you can get that first connection that you need. Me, myself, I found multiple friends, multiple people who have the same interest as me, and I found people who actually gave me a job. I got a videography job because my dean helped me out to get that job, and through that videography job, I got another job. So what I mean by that is, like, if you go to film school and you get that connection, and through that you can get multiple jobs. I know some people who are actually working in several feature films because they gain that connection in film school. It's really important. You can also meet multiple other people, who scriptwriters, sound designers, VFX people, and all that. And you can, when you're done school, if you're still connected with those people, you can actually create a whole feature film for free. Just think about how cool that is. Just in general, in life, like, connection is, you need in everything in life. Like, if you want to even work at a grocery store, you still need a connection to get that job. Actually, you don't really need that. Number 2 in my list is equipment. When it comes to equipment, it's not as important. I'm shooting a Sony DSLR Sony, right? And with a cheap lights. But what if I was shooting in a red camera or ARRI or C300 with aperture lights? Probably this video would look like 10 times better, but don't get sucked in all that. What I mean by the equipment is, for example, if your school is 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, in those 3 years, you don't really need to worry about equipment. When it comes to film and equipment, that thing can cost quite a lot of money. One C-stand can cost you $200, just a C-stand. But when you go to film school, you have all that and a lot more, and you can just focus on film and creating. That's like one of the best things that can happen to you, because the less stress that you have when you're creating, the better it is. All right, number 3 on my list is demo reel. Yeah, demo reel could be really important when it comes to getting a job as a videographer, photographer. For example, I personally applied to 1,000 different places, and they never ask for my diploma. They always ask about demo reel and a CV. That's pretty much it. When you finish film school, that's like one of the things you have to, like 100% have to have, because you probably worked on multiple projects as a director, producer, DOP, gaffer, grip, production designer, whatever. You just have to collect all those footages, all those projects that you worked on, and make one cool demo reel. When you finish school, you have something to put on your website, on your Instagram, on your YouTube, and then send it to people, send it to 1,000 people, and get a job. It's really important when you're becoming a filmmaker and when you want to get a videography job, because that's pretty much all they look at. Like, it's like, oh, you have a cool shots, or you have a cool camera movement, just the colors, the lighting. Oh my God, okay, come over. We'll give you a job. We'll give you part-time, full-time, whatever. I don't know where I'm going with this, but demo reel is really important. All right, number 4 on my list is field experts. What I mean by that is, for example, when I was in George Brown College, I had several profs who been in industry for a long time. And what you get from meeting those people is something that you won't get from online education. Obviously, they can teach you almost the same thing, but you won't have that interaction with asking questions, asking, what do you want to know? Like, what if this happened and this happened, how are you gonna prevent it, and this and that. You won't get these from online classes, and that's like one of the biggest things that you can get from film school as well, because you always have somebody who can teach you the experience that they had that you won't get it from someone else. Like, you know what I mean? For example, if you have a question for a director or production designer, it's like, what are you gonna do if nothing works out? What are you gonna do if this and that happen? Maybe they have the answer for that because they already experienced that in the past. And if that actually happens to you when you become a DOP or director, it's like you can remember what that person said to you, or that field expert who's been in this industry for 20-30 years said to you, can help you out. You know what I mean? All right, guys, that was it. That was all the pros and cons of film school. I have one more thing. I couldn't really add it to either one of the lists, so I just kept it separately, and that would be a well-rounded education. Like I said before, I went to George Brown College, and in that college, I learned everything, like pretty much whatever you can learn on film, lighting, production design, sound, directing, except producing. I don't think you can really teach that. Like that's a whole different story. Like, it's so much work involved in it. I learned everything, and I feel like that's great, because now I know a little bit of everything. And when it comes to set work, working on film, working on set, like if some kind of issue comes up, I know how to fix it. Maybe a little bit, maybe just a little bit, but at least I know what they're talking about. It's cool if you want to only become a director, if you only become a DOP, but you still need to know how everything around you works on film set. What that can create is better understanding with your fellow filmmakers. When you get a problem, when you have a problem, you can get the solution like a lot quicker, because you already know what they're talking about and you have the knowledge about it. So I'm really happy that I went to George Brown College and I got that well-rounded education, but everybody have a different opinion on that, so that's why I didn't add it to either one of the lists, because some people just want to focus on one specific thing, and that's cool as well. So alright guys, that was it. That's all you need to know about film school before attending one, or at least that's what I think. If you enjoyed this, please leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, press that like button, don't smash it, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.